I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief brought to you by Lay of the Land. And before we head off to enjoy a well-deserved break for the weekend, let's take a look at those top stories making headlines. And don't forget, you can join us every Monday to Thursday as we bring you those stories hot off the wires and on to a device or a computer near you. So let's take a look at those top stories, and we begin with news that a senior Saudi official has made it public that the Gulf Kingdom is mulling whether or not to invite an Israeli official next month to visit the kingdom. This is while US President Joe Biden is scheduled to visit Israel, speak to Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas, as well as travel on to Saudi Arabia. Now, this is all contingent on the success of the meetings of President Biden, and the Saudis haven't decided whether or not to possibly invite this Israeli official during Biden's meeting with the Saudis or afterwards. From Israel's perspective, we are hoping for every success because this summit could lead to perhaps measures put in place to work towards small to medium normalization measures with the Gulf Kingdom. And of course, we've all been watching developments. Over the last couple of months, we've seen almost a softening, a rapprochement in rhetoric from the Saudis towards the Israelis. A lot of issues that normally would have been kept covert or under the covers are now in the public domain, and we can't forget the historic visit last week by U.S. Special Envoy on Anti-Semitism, Deborah Lipstadt, to Saudi Arabia, where she examined some of the work being done to get rid of the anti-Semitic education in textbooks and in schools and implement ways to educate Saudis about Jewish culture, Jewish history, and to quote the Foreign Ministry of Saudi Arabia, fight anti-Semitism in whatever form it manifests. Lipstadt said she was overwhelmed by the amount of work the Saudis were putting in to fight anti-Semitism. So watch the space, because we, like many of you, are playing normalization bingo, and we have our numbers firmly fixated on the Gulf Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Now, while we're talking about education for hate, an watchdog called Impact that monitors Palestinian education, they released a statement earlier today that said that UNRWA, which is the United Nations Relief Works Agency, which is responsible for producing a lot of the educational material that is featured in Palestinian schools, might have removed some of the incitement or hate speech from their public domain, but they have not removed it from textbooks. Textbooks still contain language that promotes jihad, that promotes terrorism, and that promotes the incitement of violence against Jews and Israel. Now, we have been following the developments around UNRWA for a while, and we know that the funding has greatly diminished because of the continuation of pushing this kind of education. However, UNRWA weren't available for comment and actually refused to comment. Earlier today, a new agreement was signed between Israel and Turkey. This follows very, very successful meetings both by President Herzog as well as a former Foreign Minister, now Prime Minister Yair Lapid. This agreement signed today is to expand aviation lost my train of thought. There's to expand aviation cooperation. Has been a very long news-packed week. Nevertheless, the agreement, the first of its kind signed since 1951 between the two countries, will ensure that Israeli airline carriers will be able to fly to a variety of destinations within Turkey, and Turkish airlines will be able to fly to Israel as well. So if you are planning your trip to Turkey and you live in Israel and the threat level has come down, you will have a variety of sources to choose from. And our final story takes us to our rocking summer, and 50 Cent, the rapper that played in Israel for the first time in 16 years, played to packed auditoriums. And he's not the only act that is heating up the summer. We've just had Maroon 5 and Deep Purple, and are looking forward to welcoming One Republic, Justin Bieber. Please God, his health should improve. Maluma, we have also had Andrea Bocelli, the world-renowned opera singer, and so many more. So if you are booking your trip to Israel this summer, check out who might be performing here so that they can entertain you as well as us. So this brings us to the end of today's broadcast. It has been quite a jam-packed news week. Don't forget, you can get all your recaps of the Israel brief on our website at layoftheland.online. There is also an article I've just written taking a look at the billion-dollar industry of hate. I examine Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International. Who is funding and where is that moolah going? Our YouTube channel is at the Israel Brief. You can peruse through all our content over there. And don't forget to like us, share our content, and very importantly, subscribe by hitting the red subscribe button. And of course, we're on Twitter at layoftheland5. We post new content there every day. Make sure you are following. So from all of us here to all of you, we wish you a peaceful, a safe, and a healthy weekend. Shabbat Shalom. And don't forget to join me next week. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief. Until then, take care.